What's up, YouTube? It's me, the artisanmc, and today I'm going to review Secret Invasion Episode 6, the finale. Well, just finished this episode, and I have to say it ends a little different for the MCU Fest. It ends on a note of love, which is weird. Um, this episode saw the resolution of a lot of situations with the scrolls and the start of more problems for the scrolls on planet Earth. Shout out to Samuel L. Jackson for reprising his role of Nick Fury and giving a bunch of different shades on Nick Fury as a character. Not only in this episode did we get to see the Nick Fury that we remember, who was calculated, methodical, and would fight, you also got to see the scared, a little bit out of his element, emotional Nick Fury. And I appreciate that. Sam Jackson never really got to add that many layers onto this character while he was in the MCU because he just popped in and out. There was never a time where the camera was just solely fixated on him, that he can show this character's range of emotions. And what I enjoy about that is it gives people the understanding that Nick Fury is not just one thing. He's not a soulless automaton just doing stuff in the background. He actually has feelings. He actually has emotions. He actually has relationships with the people around him that he cares about. And it all does affect him a bit. So in this episode, there's a few things in play. The one thing in play is that Nick Fury is on the lam. He's gotten a call from Gravok telling him where he can find him and where to come to bring the harvest to him. The harvest being the DNA collected at the in-game battle from every hero that was there fighting that bled. They sent a crew in to get samples of that blood and synthesize that blood into one cocktail. Gravok wants that. He wants that for a Super Scroll program. The reason Gravok even knows about it is because he's one of the ones who were sent out to collect it. He was in charge. Now, he didn't know where Fury hid it, but he knew it existed. Because Fury kind of screwed up his plan to kill the American president, and Gravok's own forces turned against him, he decides to call an audible, and the audible is to tell Nick Fury where New Scrollos is, to come to him and bring him the harvest, and he will make all these worldwide manhunt for Nick Fury stuff in the media go away. Now, Fury has since hooked up with Sonya from the SIS, and she has been brought up to speed that Colonel Rhodes is a scroll. A few other people in government are. And she knows that Fury is going to meet Gravok to give him the harvest. The rest they work out as a plan. Now, we also see that the Scroll Rhodes is with the President of the United States and actually given a lot of pressure on him that Russia was behind the attack and he needs to drop a bomb on this location where the scrolls are being housed by the Russians. Now, For me, in this scene where Rhodes is actually giving an admiral a bit of shit, I think he's out of his depth on that. That should have been a red flag for anybody working closely with the military, that a colonel in the Air Force is not, or a general in the Air Force, I do not believe, because I'm assuming he's just a one star. I don't think a one-star general is going to be given an admiral in the Navy any shit. I really don't. Sitting by the president's bedside or not. I do not think so. I don't think that's how that goes down. And I could be wrong. I don't work in Washington. I don't work in those higher echelons of the military. But I think that was a bit foul. That should have risen red flags for everybody in earshot of that conversation. Now, the president doesn't really know what to believe, but his advisor, which is General Colonel Rhodes, is giving him this advice and giving him the information that we need to launch a missile and take this place out. Now, while this is happening, Fury makes a call. And Fury calls Priscilla. And he calls Priscilla because he's a little bit emotionally kind of messed up with what he has to go do and kind of concerned about her. And it's an interesting call in the sense that he doesn't want to say where he's going. He doesn't want to say what he has to go and do, but he is accepting the reality that this could be his last time getting to talk to her. So before she's in the wind completely, he goes ahead and calls her. And they have a brief exchange that gives her the idea that this might be the last time she's talking to Fury. Now, from there, we get Fury going up to New Scrollos. And through some cleverness, he gets into New Scrollos. Now, while at the same time, Colonel Rose gets a call from Sonia from SIS, who let him know that Fury is on the way to the hospital and that he is going to run through these people that are there. So Rose needs to move the president ASAP. Rose doesn't want to believe it, but he follows suit and starts moving the president to an upper floor. While this is happening, since these two events are happening at the same time, Fury makes his way into the radiation compound, which is New Scrollos, and walks right in the front door and walks into the Super Scroll chamber where Gravik is waiting. And he's suffering effects of radiation. He's coughing and hacking and trying to take his iodine pills and everything to try to make sure. I don't know what. Personally, I don't know what the iodine pills are supposed to do if the radiation is that high. When he came into the complex, he sees that the other scrolls are dead or hiding or whatever, but nobody else is there. It's just Fury and it's just Gravik. And while they're standing on this Super Scroll making machine platform, Gravik goes in on Fury about what he did, who the face is that he's wearing, what it meant to him to have to do this. And while it was a very good performance to me by Kingsley Benadir, I think it was a little silly in one sense because Gravik had killed Kree. He had killed people before. When Fury met him, he had already killed people. So him coming to Earth and killing a human, to me, shouldn't have been that big of a deal. It's just somebody else that you killed. I don't know why this one made much more difference to him. I mean, outside of the fact that when he was fighting and killing the Kree, he was fighting a war and fighting for his life. Here, he was going on missions by Fury and killing people that were a danger to something, I assume. Don't know what, it's spy shit. Doesn't matter. So to me, I don't think a Kree body or a human body is that different, especially since at the end of the day, he's willing to let the whole world go up in flames and kill a bunch of human beings because he's pissed off at Fury. And that's what this reads like. It reads like a disillusioned, pissed off child fussing at their father for what they had to become in the cruel world. That's the part that doesn't work for me. It's well acted, it's a good scene, but in the end, I hear a child bitching at an adult. Kind of just it kind of just rubs me the wrong way if I step back from it a little bit and just like, man, shut up. All this shit because you're mad you had to kill one human guy or a few of them. Get the fuck out of here. You were already killing people. Humans, sapiens, whatever fuck you want to call it. They all walk on two legs. So I thought that was a little silly. I thought it was a little silly. While this dress down is going on, Rhodes is trying to move the president onto upper floors. And as he's doing that, a lot of the president's detail starts getting taken out. And they're not being taken out with gunshots, they're being taken out with tranquilizer darts and just dispatched really quickly and sneakily. Now, you flick back to Fury and Gravok at New Scrollos. And during all that conversation, Fury eventually pulls out the ampule of the harvest and makes a deal with Gravik that if he gives him this, he takes it and gets the hell off of Earth. He goes to some other planet, genocides them instead of humans, but leave him alone and leave the Earth alone. And Gravik thinks he's crazy, but Fury is coughing and hacking and about to die. So he goes ahead and just takes the ampule from him and goes to test it. And sure enough, testing it, he finds out it has everybody's DNA in it. Now, how the computer knows by testing the ampule that each one of these sequences is this person and their code name, I don't know. But whatever the fuck. He verified that it was the actual real deal. So what does he do? He walks back onto the scroll platform with the ampule plugged into the device and kicks it on again and gives himself more powers. Now, something interesting happens once this is going on for a while. He's absorbing all this extra power. You flip back to the hospital and you see Rhodes getting the president up to the upper floors and having him sequestered in one room, and he's going to check the next room they're going into out, and he doesn't check behind the door, and Sonya pops up behind him with a gun to his head. And now Sonya is standing there with the president, who has lost his last two members of his detachment and only has Rhodes and a gun he took from one of the Secret Service agents. And standing there in what is a standoff, with Sonya trying to convince the president that Rhodes is a Skrull. You flip back to New Scrollos, and the bubble is dropping around the Super Skrull chamber. And Gravok is brimming with his new power. Bulking up, he's changing pieces of himself. It's awesome. And since nobody else is there, he starts to kick off in Fury's ass. Now, this is kind of how I thought it was going to go. That, one, Fury was going to get his ass beat by the Super Skrull. It was going to happen. There's no fucking way he's fighting this thing. They have not established anything with Fury in the MCU of having any longevity or anything like that. Nothing. Even though in both regular continuity and Ultimate's continuity, he does have a version of a super soldier serum. He does. Not as strong as what's in Captain America, but pretty good to keep him alive for a while. Now, Fury takes a couple of shots, and when Gravik goes in for the coup de grace, turning his head into silly putty, his punch is stopped by Fury. Fury catches his punch in mid-swing and stops him cold. Now, this is a moment where you'd be shocked if you weren't, I don't know, me, thinking that, Fury walked into this compound with this damn ampule, and he's standing right on this machine. Oh, he's getting powers. He's getting fucking powers in this moment. There's no other way. Because it would make absolutely no sense at all to have the ampules, Fury, and this machine all in the same place. And Fury not end up with powers when he's going up against somebody who clearly already has a couple of powers. Extremis, Cole Obsidian, and Groot's powers. You're going to need something besides a pistol. You're going to need it. Because, and this will be more important later, he can heal. It's going to have to be something substantial you do. Now, Gravik and Fury start to brawl. And one of the things you realize when they start to brawl is Fury has powers. He has powers. He's changing his arm and stuff like that into other forms. And he's actually putting a little bit of a whooping on Gravik. But then something interesting happens. We flip back to the hospital where this conversation between Sonya and President Ritson is going on about Rhodey being a Skrull and trying to get him to believe that Rhodey is a Skrull. And lo and behold, coming through the door at the end of the hallway is Nick Fury. Yes, oh yes, it's Nick Fury. And he puts his gun down and starts talking to the president. Now, you might be asking yourself, what the fuck is going on? You might be. That's cool. That's fun. When you flip back to New Skrullos, you see that the Nick Fury there has shapeshifted into Gaia. Gaia went back to New Skrullos, disguised as Nick Fury. All that coughing and hacking and radiation was just acting, which you could have picked up on because she should have been dead a while ago. Or Nick Fury, that was at New Skrullos, should have been dead a while ago when he walked in. Now, being that she already had a little bit of powers from that thing, she has just got ultra boost by getting all the powers of all those Avengers in one person, on top of what she already had. But so has Gravik. Now, the interesting part of this is that when Gravik turned the machine on and Nick Fury was on the platform, I thought this is where Nick Fury gets powers. It is, because why didn't you kick his ass off the platform? You just gonna juice yourself and juice him too and just call it good? It's stupid, right? But now, Gaia and Gravik are facing off. And with one of the punches that sends him out, she reveals herself. And she is pissed because Gravik is responsible for her mother and her father dying. And she now has a reason to kick off in his ass. And we get into the superhero fight. The CG superhero fight. Partly CG, partly practical. I like how they tried to get around it a little bit where each person was only morphing pieces of their body and not going with the whole morph so they can still use practical some of the time. But it's interesting to see her popping out abilities that you've seen before and some you have never seen before that doesn't make any sense that she has, such as, I don't know, invisibility or ice creating powers. Now, during the watch, I questioned this, like, what the fuck is this? Are these X-Men powers she showed up using now all of a sudden? Because, we ain't seen nobody with invisibility powers. And we damn sure ain't seen nobody with ice creating powers. But those are on the nose for mutants in the Fantastic Four. Right on the nose. And what the hell is Fury doing with DNA samples from people like that? And not mentioning it. Now we flip back to the hospital with Fury, Sonya, Skrull Rhodes, and Ritson, President Ritson. And Fury trying to convince him to call off the launch or just delay it at the very least. That yes, Rhodes is a Skrull, and all of this is a plot to get him to strike against America first. Or excuse me, to strike against Russia first, which will end up starting a war. The president doesn't know what to believe. He has a gun on his gurney, and Fury keeps making his way closer to the president. Now, we flip back to New Skrullos, and now we get what I'm already seeing as another moment where in the MCU, some tiny white woman is going to kill a big black dude. And I'm not willing to watch that shit. I'm really not. Now, I like Emilia Clarke. I do. I like Emilia Clarke. If she called me on the phone, we'd be going out and having a date. She would. But I do not believe Emilia Clarke at about 5'5", 97 pounds should be kicking off in this dude's ass. Now, while this is a Marvel movie, suspension of disbelief is in effect because every small woman can beat any big ass black dude's ass. Now, the part that I'm having a hard time with is the fact that Gaia is better at using these new abilities than Gravok. When Gravok was the first one who got super scrolled. He's the first one who got the pump up. So why is he having a hard time with this extra set of powers he just got thrown on top of him? When Gaia, as far as we know, only had one initially, which was the healing. The extremist one. Not super strength and the rest of that shit. She was already strong because she was a Skrull. Doesn't make much sense. But he's getting his ass handed to him nonetheless. Now, it's an interesting little bit of CG to see them flipping through all these powers and eventually getting to the Carol Danvers abilities, the Super Energizer Bunny abilities. So they're flying and up in the air and all the rest of that good shit. Now, the part that makes me question is when they're up in the air fighting and then they're falling back down to Earth. Gaia does something that stretches it a bit, and she flips into Mantis's powers. Like she actually goes to the Rolodex, thinks about it, and turns into Mantis. And tells him, puts her hand on Gravok's head and tells him, sleep. Now, the question I had was, how the fuck does she know to do that? How does she know to do that? She's never met, as far as I know, she's never met Mantis. She don't know what the hell Mantis's powers are. What, they tell her about it? What happened on Titan? Really? You think so? It doesn't make any sense that how she knows how to use that power and how to activate it. It makes sense to the audience watching because we saw it. So, yeah, putting your hand on somebody's head and yelling sleep, yeah, that's just about as good as Christopher Walken putting his finger up to his hand and putting telling you shush and you falling out. Yeah, it's just about as good. But she has no reason to know how to do that. So having all these mental abilities and no understanding of how to use them or what they actually do is fucking pointless. I don't think it came with a user's manual in the DNA sample. That's not how it works. So regardless of that, I'm calling bullshit, and I'm starting to get a little irritated because I know Gravok is going to lose this, and he's going to die. And sure enough, when they get back down to the ground and they're having this fight, and Gravok is giving some words of no joy, talking some shit to Gaia, there's a huge blast that goes off. And when you look down, Gravok has been blown through the stomach. Stop me if you've seen this one before. by little Gaia with her Captain Marvel powers, blown his insides out, and Gravik falls to the ground and dies. And my first thought is he should heal because he still has that ability. Or he should have made himself really tough and that wouldn't have went through. Either way, I was thinking there was something else that could have been done since he has all these abilities too. And at least two of them out of the multitude that he has is healing. Just saying. But no, he's dead. And Gaia is left to be the lone survivor there to carry out the second part of the plan. Now, back at the hospital, Nick Fury has made his way closer to the president. Sonya still has her gun on Scroll Rhodes. General Scroll Rhodes. I'm trying to think of a way to say that funny. But and the president still doesn't know what to choose, so Scroll Rhodes sees an opening and pulls a maneuver to get the gun from Sonya's hand and knock her away. And takes the pistol, and as he starts to point it at Nick Fury has gotten the gun from the president, and Nick Fury blows Scroll Rhodes' brains out. Another black man down. Gotta love it. Now, be that as it may, there's a resolve because the president now can look over and see Canoe Head Rhodes turn back into his full Scroll self and realizes that Nick Fury wasn't bullshitting. He asks for a phone and he takes Sonya's phone. I don't know how he knows the number, but calls the people that he gave orders to launch missiles so he can call off the strike. Gaia, back in New Skrullos, goes down into the basement, shuts off the machines, and then she starts unhooking people from these machines. And it's all the people that the Skrulls have copied. Namely, and chiefly among some of those, are Colonel James Rhodes and Everett Ross. Now, the dumb question I heard from this is that Everett Ross wakes up and he sees James Rhodes. And the first questions he asks him is, how long have you been here? Now, to me, that's the dumbest fucking question. That's a dumb line whatsoever. Is if you're just waking up and you're seeing the person next to you equally just waking up later than you, why the fuck would you ask him how long he's been there? He doesn't even know where the hell he is. Do you think he had a watch and keeping track of the time while he was comatose too? That was a dumb line. I don't know why that was there. That was just like complete cringe word. Like, what the fuck, dude? Really? That's your first question? Shut the hell up. How about where are we? The hell is going on? How about those? Not asking the person next to you, how long you been asleep? How the fuck would he know? That was dumb. But what you see is that all these people are still alive. Gaia is setting them free, and they are free to walk about and leave their containment underneath this base. Now, there's one problem here, too. On top of the dumb lie, once these people are all free, they start walking about New Skrullos to leave. And the first thing I thought of when they opened the door and stepped out onto the soil is, why aren't they all dying of radiation right now? Why weren't they dying of radiation like a while ago? Because that was the point of the Skrulls picking New Skrullos. It was an old reactor area. It was very high in radiation, and the radiation didn't bother the Skrulls, but it bothered humans. So no matter how long the actual humans that the Skrulls were copying were there, they should have already been fucking dead from all the radiation. I need an explanation. I'm serious. I need an explanation. That shit is just irritating and dumb. Be that as it may, they are liberated and set free from New Skrullos to walk about the radiation wasteland and get back to some semblance of civilization. And President Ritson does a press conference from his hospital room and lets the world know that the attack on him was not the Russians; it was actually these alien scrolls. And because these alien scrolls had tried to kill him, it is now on and popping for alien species to get the hell off of Earth. You will be hunted down. You will be killed. Let's roll. Basically, is the speech that he's given. That he green lighted killing of not xenophobes, but alien species on Earth. I hope Rocket and Groot are not around, or anybody else close to the Avengers Mansion is the fuck out of there, because he was not very specific in that speech. Since a bunch of aliens came to Earth to help save this bitch, he needs to be a bit more specific, because there's a few of them running around the planet. Just saying. But he wasn't. But that's the new thing. Now, the next resolve gets to Fury showing up at his home. And Priscilla is still there. And they have a nice little touching moment where he's coming to check on her and letting her know he should have been there so she didn't have to do all this fight and stuff like that. And she tells him she can take care of herself. But what he also lets her know is that he's leaving tonight. He hoped they could have made up and got over it, but he is leaving the planet tonight. He's going back up to Saber. Why? Gravik's dead, mission done. I guess that's the reason. Whatever, fun. But he's off. Maybe they can make peace. He heads out, and Priscilla, who was packing her bags and trying to escape already herself, is left there to contemplate what she's going to do. Nick Fury, on the other hand, decides to drive out to the same empty field that he was dropped off in and wait for his light beam transport to come and take him back to Saber. Now, the other reveal is of Gaia walking the streets in a car pulling up behind her. And she hears the car coming up behind her, hits a corner, and sure enough, she runs into Sonya. And Sonya has a proposition for Gaia that, knowing that she has all these abilities now, she wants her to come work for her. And Gaia gives a little quip about that's the same thing that got her father killed working with Nick Fury. So Sonya decides, no, we're not doing this as no friends, not for love, not none of that shit. I'm gonna use you, and you're gonna use me, hoe for hoe, and we're gonna get it popping that way. You need help? I'm here to help you, because what's coming now is gonna be a problem for you Skrulls. So Gaia decides to go off with Sonya, and now the British SIS has a Super Skrull on the payroll. Awesome. Now, the next little reveal is a phone call the president receives, and it's Nick Fury calling the president. And he's talking to the president about how he feels and telling him he didn't appreciate that hateful ass speech that he gave on a press conference, and that the fallout from that speech is every two-bit vigilante running around the planet killing people at will to reveal scrolls or reveal people they think are scrolls that are just end up being regular humans, that people are doing dumb shit. Okay, it's like, watching The Dark Knight and people running around in hockey pads saying, I'm Batman. No. That's what's happening. They're just killing people wantonly. Now, how they are able to tell who's a scroll and who's not, still ain't figured that out. They didn't know all this other time. How the fuck do they know now? Is there a list? There's a sheet, sign-up sheet or something like that? You give off a smell? I mean, we talked about this on Geek Speak before. How did you know? Does it smell? Oily? The eyes change? They got a glow to them? How do you know? Don't. But some dumbasses are going around just killing people, and some are scrolls, some are the bad scrolls, some are the good scrolls that actually want to help you find other scrolls. So I guess that makes them like slave catchers or something. I don't fucking know. But Fury gives the president the how to and how he needs to fix that situation because you're killing the wrong people. And the president, stands on his square and says he doesn't care. He want them all gone. Oh well. So, seeing that he cannot change the president's mind, Fury is in the field waiting for his ride to drop down. And a car pulls up. And sure enough, out of this car comes Priscilla. And she walks over to Fury and they start having an actual heartfelt conversation. And it's about what happens next. And showing that there's actually genuine love between Fury and this scroll. But given the situation, that scroll cannot continue to hide under that mask of Priscilla any longer. She wants to be herself. But Fury also wants her to go with him. Because what is told about Fury is that he loves her. Doesn't matter that she's a scroll. He always loved her. And while she takes her natural scroll shape, form, and uses her scroll name, he's like, yes, always. It was always about loving you. And we get some interspecies erotica with Fury kissing Vera on the mouth, green ears and all, getting that goblin tongue, while the light beam drops down and this ride shows up. And sure enough, Fury and Vera get on the little sled and go back up into space to the Saber space station to work on a peace deal with the Kree and the Skrulls. And that is how you end this series of Secret Invasion, with the killing of all alien species on Earth, unless they leave. It's a million of them. They got a lot of target practice to get to. But that's it. So my feeling on this episode is that there was some action, there was some strong performances, but it ultimately ended kind of just blah. I wasn't looking forward to seeing another black dude killed by a little white woman. That's really bothering the shit out of me every time I see it. And the only thing I can say is I'm thinking that's a Victoria Alonso thing. So now that she has expired from the MCU and is no longer an executive producer, I should see that going away too. If I don't, I'm going to know it's a Disney play and not an MCU play, because that shit is worn thin for me. I can't watch every movie with a black male protagonist or antagonist and some white woman got to kill him. I'm sick of seeing that shit. I'm really sick of it. I was sick of it with He Who Remains and Sylvie in the Loki show. I have not grown to like it anymore since then. It has been detesting every time after that I've seen it. But other than that, and a couple goofy stuff I mentioned, that's it. That's the series. That's the wrap up for Nick Fury. Sam Jackson as Nick Fury in the MCU, unless they pay him more money to come back and do something else. Till then, you got to wait for the Marvels to see him. And as I heard today, the Marvels is postponed. So you might not be seeing it that soon. But in the meantime, that was it. Like, share, subscribe, support the stream if you feel so inclined. This was my reaction to Secret Invasion Episode 6, the finale. Thank you, Sam Jackson. Thank you, Don Cheadle. Thank you, Kinsley Benedier. Thank you, Amelia Clark. Thank you, Ben Middleton. Thank you, Margaret Freeman. Thank you, what's her name? The woman who's playing Sonya. I don't know her name well enough, but thank you, because she did an awesome job in this. Rest in peace, Maria Hill. Peace to Kobe Smulders. Sorry that they killed you off. And yeah, I enjoyed the show. It wasn't the top thing on my list, but I did enjoy what I saw. It could have ended stronger, but there's some stuff that was in there that can lead into some other things in the MCU. But they got a whole lot of repair work to do on Phase 5. So hopefully that them being quiet is them getting at it. So I will see you guys next time. Peace.